For every 5 ranchers over the age of 72, there's only 1 under the age of 30. That's a dramatic split. What's gonna happen in the next 5 years?
I don't think it's surprising, to be honest, that a lot of people aren't getting into it. The reality is it's very difficult.
I want to be optimistic and say that there's going to be a great turnover of people wanting to engage in this. But if you didn't grow up in ranching, or maybe you didn't grow up around it, how do you get into it? From a young age, I just knew that somehow I wanted to be involved in either raising or having bison. My mom is a school teacher, my dad was in the military, and so as I got older, I worked towards figuring how, without really an agricultural background, I would get into raising bison. I attended the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. Joined the military after that. Really enjoyed my time in the service, but I knew what I was doing was temporary. I lived on the flight line in an RV and saved all my housing allowance for years. That was what I used to put down on my first piece of property when I found a piece here in Montana that I could afford. I worked as a hand on some cattle ranches here locally. I thought that was a good start, but then I realized I had to throw that all out the window because you don't do any of those things that you do with cows that you do with bison. So the learning process started over again when I got my first animals. I bought 9 to start with. It was really exciting. I had never worked a bison before in my life. I had to YouTube everything starting out, and that's pretty difficult. We've learned and come a long way since that time, but that's how I got started. Figured out how to handle them on a smaller scale. Spent a year building fence all by hand, trying to figure out where's a market that I could fit in and make at least enough money to live ranching. Just to break even or have a little bit of continual debt. Incredibly hard thing to do if you're just starting up a ranch. I had learned enough about fencing that I actually started a fencing business, which kept me going in the meantime. Doing that and coming back to the ranch, dipping my toe in and out, it was a super difficult time. At one point, I had listed the ranch for sale. Financially, there was just no way that I was going to make it other than going into complete bankruptcy. You know, I did not want to sell it. Then I met Brittany. She worked as a marketing executive for Boeing for about a decade.
He invited me out here to visit. I just thought it was interesting to do all the hard work and build this amazing dream that he had and then sell it. It was such a shame.
She was the one that convinced me not to sell it and to give it another go. She quit Boeing and I gave up my fencing business and we went all in on this. Basically, we went back to the drawing board.
Decided the best thing to do would be to produce something direct out of the ranch.
Cutting out as many middlemen as possible. Focus on highlighting the benefits of bison.
Bison is the most nutrient-dense protein on the planet, original to the land and important for the environment. We came up with Roam Free. 100% grass-fed, grass-finished bison jerky.
Really traditional, it's just smoked bison meat and spices. There's nothing else added. Our name, the bison are roaming free, but it also refers to the end product that we create, meaning it's free of soy, gluten, sugar.
Targeting a consumer that wants those things. We raise the animals here. We have a processing facility about 30 minutes from the place that goes all the way to the bag. And then it comes back here and we ship it out. So it's pretty close to home. And that's intentional.
Long-term goal for us is trying to grow in a sustainable way that lets us have an income and remains beneficial. We view that as just our responsibility as stewards to do that. It would be easy to hop the fence and just jump straight to extreme production, but it's just not what we got into this to do, and that's not our goal to ever get there. Our goal is to remain a brand that stays true to the values of what we're trying to create, and that can be a really hard thing, but we'll let you know how it goes. Yeah. The people that are in ranching or agriculture in general, I have a lot of respect. You know, if somebody says, hey, this is my family and their tradition, it's been passed down. I mean, I understand that, it's super special. You put your whole life into it. There feels like there's a loss as a ranch folds because you lose a little light in the grand scheme of things of this value system that people hold on to.
This is something that is worth protecting and preserving. Making sure that ranching can be profitable, that the next generation can stay on the land. It's up to us to make sure that stays for future generations, that it's not just something we read about in history books.
In some ways, I'm really disadvantaged because I didn't grow up in agriculture. But in another sense, I think the one advantage that gives me, if this is the only advantage, is that I'm here because I really love it and I would not do anything else and am super passionate about it. I would like to see the value of hard work and respect and open space that we have preserved here. I see that as being super valuable.